But more importantly, he can't special summon.
On the plus side, neither can Morris for multiple reasons.
That's true, but Morris has the stronger monster here. That player typically has the upper hand when these emptinesses face up.
Qliphort will tie without Lucardo, though. Question is, do you want to crash it, or do you want to try to flip up whatever that face-down monster is, which is most likely Burning Abyss, and just get it in the graveyard?
What if it's a Scar?
Oh, it'll go to the graveyard.
Oh, you're right, because it flips face up it destroys itself with the same effect. You're right. Yeah, so he really kind of threw away his emptiness by setting it, right?
Debatable. I mean, it is going to go. He's going to use that monster and Vanity's Emptiness. But could be that he's got a plan. In general, though, you don't put something that's clear liability at the same time.
But you are right. Alucard has 1,800 attack points, right? So it would tie with Qliphort, right? In any case.
Watson looked like he was going to attack, but it seems that he's not. And instead, Morris is going to attack. And I really think that you wanted to attack with Qliphort there.
Yeah, there's certainly no reason to give Morris the option.
Yeah.
That face-down card actually was a Scar, but as you mentioned, it was destroyed.
And instead, he's going to get Fire Linked. Two Burning Abyss.
Brutal.
3 cards down. That's Mind Crush, Solemn Warning, and Stellar Nova Alpha. The effects get chained up.
Pretty good. So he'll be using Guard in the end phase, and he gets the Graph effect now, which special summons a monster from his deck. And he had Seer to his field in attack position. That was incredible. Fire Lake. Looks like Seer attacked directly, and now he gets to use his Scarf's effect in the end phase to add the monster.
He picks up Graph. Might as well keep the Burning Abyss train going. Stellar Knight, or Vega, is normal summon, followed by a special summon of Altair. Altair is activated. Try to summon back Deneb. And Morris goes ahead and checks the graveyard.
So Morris should do... I want to say he's still in good shape because he has Karma Cut.
Yes, he's most likely deciding when he's going to use the Karma Cut.
It looks like his opponent is going to use... Well, he has Karma Cut, and is that Phoenix Wind Blast also?
I did not see it in the brief moment. It was face up. Question is, do you use Karma Cut on the Deneb once it comes out, or do you go for the Altair on the field and the Altair in the graveyard?
Or do you just wait for an Xyz monster? Is that too late? If he makes a 3-material Xyz monster, I believe those are all very vulnerable to Karma Cut.
Yes.
So,
however, you have to deal with the possibility of, like, basically if you were to be able to summon Triver, he could get the Oasis back and start the loop back up.
That's true. That's a concern.
And instead he's gone banishing both copies of Deneb from the graveyard to cut off any future plays while storing his effect of his own grasp.
Okay, so yeah, I think he did the right thing here. Activating it now and banishing that monster.
Altair, that's the third one, added to Watson's hand. And let's take a look at his extra sort of key material monsters do we have?
Except on night, actually, that wouldn't work he discarded. 3 cards to 3 cards.
Goes with Tsukiyomi.
Gente Tsukiyomi. This card lets him replace his hand with 2 more cards.
Ditches the Altair since he no longer has anything he wants to revive with it.
Looks like a Mind Crush, and I don't know what that other card is.
That's a Mind Crush. Keeps another card in hand.
And so Morris combines his 2 monsters. And here comes our hero,
Dante.
Dante, Traveler of the Burning Abyss.
Attaches Seal.
Waste no time activating its effect.
1, 2, 3, Regeki, Alec, and Anti-Spell Fragrance. We're pretty happy to see the fragrance in the graveyard. It's going to go straight out of his deck.
It's not a card he wants to draw in this matchup.
Dante attacks into Tsukiyomi. Tsukiyomi has 2,300 defense. Yes. Match for the 25. Dante can go up to.
He's not.
Main phase 2, he's traded for Downward Condition and Scarm, which was brought back by Seer, Bite the Dust.
Yes, so in his end phase, he gets another search. Has he been through Tour Guide yet?
No. But I think he's got another discard trap down there. So he's going to keep the train going.
Yes, so he use that discard trap to discard the Sir, and then use its effect to get the Scar back, and maybe next time he'll get Tour Guide.
So on and so forth.
He can really keep this going for as long as he has discard cards, yeah. And when he's out of stuff that discard from his hand, he can finally take that Tour Guide and capitalize on the fact that it would enable him to summon a monster, a Burning Abyss monster from his deck that would not destroy itself as a result of that Downward Magician or any non-Burning Abyss monster being on the field.
Looks like Watson has just picked up Reinforcement of the Army to go with Qliphort. Goes and plays Reinforcement of the Army. Look at Deneb and decides to get it. It's 3rd Deneb, 3rd Altair. It's probably the most Tellar Knights I've seen a deck go through. Lately, anyway. Sets face down. That's it for Watson's turn.
Like he attacks the Zenith, and it goes straight to the graveyard.
Downward Magician. At the end of the battle phase, if it attacks or defends, it has to detach material. In this case, it's Dante, which lets Morris pick up a Burning Abyss card.
Morris says, sounds good to me. He summons Sir, sends it to the graveyard with its own effect, since Downward Magician is on the field. And that's a non-Burning Abyss monster, then uses his Sir's effect, special summon Dante back from his graveyard in defense mode. With Dante on the field, he's free to summon another Downward Magician. When that Downward Magician attacks with the Dante as it exceeds material, he can once again use Dante's effect. So.
That is one of the reasons why people play some copies of Downward Magician, and Morris is running for free. Qliphort is attacked by 1 Downward Magician.
And there goes the Dante. And here comes the Sir.
Next Downward Magician attacks, and then it's forced to discard its last material.
It's like he has Crush Card Virus in his hand. It's not great here since Watson doesn't have any cards in his hand or monsters on the field. Who knows, maybe they'll come in handy.
And Watson's had enough of that game and decides to go on to game 2. So obviously the first thing out in this particular case is going to be Anti-Spell Fragrance. Not a whole lot of spell cards in that game, other than Reinforcements of the Army. Watson. Oh, he's already main decking 2 copies of Mind Crush, and he can actually put a 3rd one in if he wants it. It's a popular choice against decks that search quite a bit, like Tellar Knights, Qliphort, Necrons, all the usual suspects. But in terms of extra spell and trap removal that can actually face that card, this is not a whole lot. He's got his third Mystical Space Typhoon inside deck. But the thing that kind of confuses me is that he's not using Galaxy Cyclone anywhere on his list. One thing that I've actually grown accustomed to in the last month was the rate at which duelists happily adopted Galaxy Cyclone. It usually takes a lot longer for players to embrace cards that destroy spell and trap cards that aren't named Mystical Space Typhoon. Like, one of the advantages of being the oldest spell and trap destruction card around and the simplest is that a lot of people just don't go past that name when they're thinking about what cards to include for spell and trap destruction. But people picked up on Galaxy Cyclone really quickly, a lot more quickly than I expected. I was pretty pleased with it. It is not appearing in this deck. Traps overall, probably going to say largely the same. Other than the Morris is checking out the side at the end. Actually, looks like he's taken the Mind Crushes out. Interesting choice. And then again, Mind Crush is more of a card that you want when you're going first, as opposed to when you're going second. So if you can stop those searches before they get a chance to be played. That could be why. He's likely assuming that Watson chooses both because he's playing Elder Knights and he wants to set all his other traps without interference. And now it appears that one is assembling his deck post-side decking for a check. The only reason I can think of to put everything together in the middle of the match. And yes, he's reassembled his deck and handed it off to a judge. It is not likely to go well for him.
Yes, as we saw in the previous duel, it appeared to have a KR.
And after we went to the graveyard, we confirmed it wasn't a Chaos Trap Hole. And seeing as the judges have also seen the same deck list that we have during the match, they have flagged this as an issue and are going to resolve it as quickly as possible, which will also unfortunately result in the end of the match once they come back. General, basically, if you're wondering what the whole purpose of deck checks is, the goal is to make sure that people are actually playing with the cards that they have on their list. That's the eventual goal. You don't submit a deck list just for fun. When you submit it, that is your pledge and guarantee that these are the cards that you are playing with for this event, and that cannot and will not change throughout the entire event.
Right. Once you create a deck list, you're committed to playing the cards you listed on that deck list. So in order to ensure fair play in the tournament, there are deck checks throughout the tournament to make sure that you're using the cards that you pledged to use in that tournament.
Right.
It's basically a way to ensure that players aren't changing their deck to account for matchups they didn't anticipate initially as they see the tournament progress.
Right. Part of the game, part of the skill of the game is building your deck ahead of time and anticipating these things and choosing the correct cards before you even get to the tournament.
Right. A lot of players' success is actually determined by the deck they choose to participate with and how adept they are at using that particular deck. And the best deck for one duelist to use isn't necessarily the best deck for another duelist to use, but each duelist should be using a deck they're comfortable with and a deck of cards that they register at the start of the tournament, that they're going to the tournament saying, I'm going to win with this deck.
And that's one of the things that comes into play when you're choosing a deck. there's a lot of times where there's, here's this overwhelmingly powerful deck that a lot of people play, like Necros. But a lot of times when you have decks like that, if you know that you're not as comfortable with that strategy and you can't play it as well as somebody else running it, and you think that you're going to play against that deck a lot throughout the entire tournament, it might be in your best interest not to play that deck.
I have actually heard a lot of people tell me that they acknowledge that Necros decks are very powerful, but they basically conceded that they don't know what they're doing. This is mostly when Necros cards are new, and Necros decks are new. Like, I don't really know what I'm doing with the Necros deck, so I decided to just play this deck that I'm comfortable with, and I think has a lot of good cards against Necros, and I think I'll be very successful. And that's especially a true strategy, and a deck is new.
The other thing is, once you get to the point where, a deck's been around for a few months and you basically know what everybody else is playing, and Necros is particularly guilty of this, because the biggest changes between tournaments are generally in the cards that you use to knock out the June releaser block. Eventually you get to the point where you're almost playing the same 40 cards, and it's kind of a coin toss as to who winds up with the better hand for playing that particular matchup. Sometimes it doesn't even matter whether or not you're better, because you might not get to play.
Right. A lot of times, though, a very slight difference in your deck construction could determine the outcome of a duel or even a match.
That's basically why people keep changing their Jin outs around, is around whether or not we're going to run Gungnir. So
it's very interesting. There appears to be some sort of snowball effect that frequently occurs by how like one card can have such an impact on a duel, even if it doesn't appear to impact a particular turn too tremendously. The way that turn later impacts future turns. Looking back, you can see that, wow, if that card were a different card, that duel would have gone very differently, that match would have gone very differently. So the bottom line is the deck list is very important to ensure fair play in tournaments. Every player must register their deck. There's also another lesson here. One of the biggest lessons here is it's important to be very careful when registering your deck, because there are a lot of accidental errors. And if you kind of just rush through your deck list and don't take the time to make sure that it's accurate, you might unknowingly be playing a deck that is not a deck list. And as we may see here, that you could be penalized for doing that. Even if it's unintentional, and the judges determine it's unintentional, and they determine that a disqualification is not appropriate, there is still a penalty, and you could still receive a game loss for it.
The basic assumption is that everything is a mistake, and investigation shows otherwise.
And it's an easy mistake to make, because a lot of players are reckless filling out their deck lists. I strongly advise against being reckless filling out their deck list, because it is so important. Yes, you've had 1 year to prepare for this event, so it's a lot of time to fill out your deck list. WCQ is a once-a-year event. It's important to treat the deck list as importantly as it is.
Alright,
so we have some good news for Mike Watson.
And let us just preface this by saying the truth is stranger than fiction.
Yes. It turns out that there are 2 Mike Watsons in the deck, both of whom are using Telenet decks.
Both of which are nearly identical.
Slightly different and it appears that we had the wrong deck list. So a check has been done based on reasonable cause to believe that his deck list was inaccurate, and it looks like there will be no penalty here. He, filled out his deck list appropriately. He gave it the time and respect that it deserves, and now we can proceed.
Any differences between the two? 3 anti-spell fragments.
3 anti-spell fragments in this Michael Watson's deck, and 2 Chaos Trap Holes appropriately written on his deck list.
Alright, so that's where that came from. Good. We can get on with the show.
So, we've identified cause for alarm, and that alarm has been quelled, and we are now ready to proceed.
Watson is running 10 monsters.
Fewer than the 11 that the old Mike Watson is running.
He's got multiple Vegas here. Vega is kind of an interesting choice. It falls in and out of favor as time goes on. I tend to like having at least one of them available in the deck. Just being able to get something that'll let you run something else outside influence is pretty helpful. Even if it is just a broadening captain. Broadening captain has always been useful.
Yes. Vega's particularly good in Tellarknight decks because of how easily you can Tellarknight to your hand. So, thanks to Dene. So it's fairly easy to have a monster in Vega. Since most of them are just easily normal summoned, it's nice to have a monster effect that can special summon an additional monster to help you get monsters onto the field.
So the reason that you usually only see one is because Vega can't summon another copy of itself. So if you have two monsters and they're both Vega,
yes, that would be unfortunate if you were to draw two. So now that this misunderstanding has been sorted out, it looks like we are ready to continue with Duel 2. Unfortunately for Watson, he is down a duel. But the good news is, there's no game loss here, no foul play, and he's ready to strike back and try to push this to a third duel.
It looks like he started off with a very powerful card against burning this. He's got Soul Drain. Prevent the activation of monster effects in the graveyard or that are banished. Final work, checking out his hand a bit.
For those wondering, these two Watsons are dead.
Watson starts off with Starlight Claw. He's going to send Vega to the graveyard. That's a useful play if you already have something like Call of Haunted in your hand, so you can use Vega's effect at the end of your opponent's turn to summon yet another monster in your hand. He's actually setting 2 cards. Play it back to Boris.
Boris starts us off with a normal summoning graph. He's going to then special summon Sir in defense mode. Activating its effect.
Next up, 3 face-down cards of your own.
Like Breakthrough Skill, Fire Link to the Burning Abyss. And was that Phoenix Wing Glass?
I think
it was. So that's interesting that he did that, since he didn't leave any burning abyss.
At the end of the turn, Oasis of Dragon Souls is activated. Maxi is chained, giving you 1 draw. And it looks like Watson has wisely decided not to activate Vega's effect in that case, and instead normal summons the Deneb in his hand. And that gets him an Altair. Watson is running, actually running multiples of Oasis of Dragon Souls, just like Call of Haunted.
Yes. This Watson is running 3 copies of Call of Haunted and 2 additional copies of Oasis of Dragon Souls. Went for the 5 special summon suite of crap cards.
All 3 monsters are combined.
Yes. He wastes no time to summon Qliphort.
Skill is activated and gave its effect. The Forbidden Lance is chained to that. If he wants to rid the Qliphort, it's going to have to chain 1 of those face-down cards. But let's go, and everything comes back to the hand.
That includes the Oasis and Dragon Soul. Watson can now reuse. So that was a pretty good play for Watson. And his hand appears to be pretty solid here.
Goes for the discard first. Most of the time, I think I like attacking first, just in case I'm going to hit that Burning Abyss monster out of their hand and give them summon.
Yeah, that seems like it. Unless you want to destroy that monster with something.
Yeah, that's the thing with Burning Abyss monsters. They don't keep returning more monsters.
Yeah, they keep replacing themselves.
Foolish Bear is the card that gets hit, though.
Seems like a good hit, especially knowing that there were 2 Burning Abyss monsters in Morris's hand that he could have hit.
Watson probably happy about that.
He normal summons Altair and activates his effect and special summons to Neb from his graveyard.
And I guess the Vega must have been activated after all at the end of Morris's turn to give him 2 draws instead of 1.
Looks like that is what happened.
Yeah, it had to have happened. Yeah, he's going to go ahead and get another Altair search, or another Den-Up search here.
And I'm pretty sure I saw him draw a card after doing that, so that definitely looks like the sequence that happened. For better or for worse. Still, despite letting Morris draw these cards, Watson's in good shape here, it looks like.
Yeah, he can get in about 3,800 damage and 7 Abyss Dweller. Seems pretty...
Well, the Krugger lost 800 attack points to Lance.
Oh, right. 3,000.
But yeah, I mean, you're just summoning Abyss Dweller here, so that's good.
You definitely got to get that damage in, though. Does indeed appear that he's got his 3,000 damage. Oh, wow.
Non-attack monsters can't attack, right?
Because they have to attack first. And we actually see the double land here. We got Abyss Dweller and Stellar Knight Constellar Diamond. You can put on top of a Stellar Knight Seas monster.
That's brilliant.
Breakthrough skill is activated.
Okay.
To chain to Abyss Dweller's effect, I believe. Yes. But that still leaves But he's got Dark Order. That'll clear things out for an instant.
So he went from a good to just getting wiped out with Dark Order.
Not bad. We got it down.
Yeah, that was really good for Morris.
Draft normal summon. Now that there are no cards left face down. Seer is activated. There are, in fact, Shadow Imprisonment Mirrors and Soul Drain somewhere in the deck.
Yes, Watson is yet to see one.
Here is successfully special summoned.
That Dark Hole was devastating.
It's very rough.
Yeah, he chose very good Xyz monsters that would basically lock down Morris if he couldn't destroy both of them.
And a quick check on Triber. Triber does not activate if it's sent to the graveyard as Xyz material. It needs to be sent to the graveyard while it's got Xyz material. Quick. One silver text. And Triber is returned to the graveyard. And am I incorrect? What is going on? Alright, looks like we're rewinding all the way back to the Dark Hole.
It's literally the only thing I like.
I think I see what the problem here was. So Stellar Knight Driver says during the turn you can see summon this card. You cannot special summon monsters except Stellar Knight monsters. So he could not have summoned the Abyss Welder in that case.
So, were they able to rewind that?
It looks like they did not rewind it at all.
Okay. So I guess there was no way to repair that.
Well, the question is, if there's no way to repair it, is it something that both players are equally at fault for, or has somebody gained a significant advantage out of it, which would change the penalty from a warding back to a game?
So it looks like the judges determined that it was unintentional and there was no severe advantage. So, it appears no warning was issued.
Yeah, that's not an effect that comes up a whole lot of the time. Yeah, because Triver is usually the weak monster to summon turn, with Triver and the Diamond on top of it. Diamond is summoned back in defense position, and Altair is summoned as well. Phoenix Wing Wind Blast is activated in response to Altair's effect to put Soul Drain. Or not Soul Drain, still deciding. So he's got Phoenix Wing Wind Blast activated, and he's chained to another Wind Blast to Fire Lake of the Burning Abyss, getting rid of his own Burning Abyss monster. And he does have to get rid of the Soul Drain with one of these effects here, otherwise he'll get nothing. 2 monsters down, or 2 monsters and Chaos Trap Hole down.
Wing Blast puts the Soul Drain on top. The 3 cards are destroyed by the fire.
Vega is summoned as well from the effect of Altair. And now we've got a new chain going on with Vega's effect, Seer's effect, and Craft's effect. It's Watson's turn right now, so Vega's going to be chained with 1, and the other 2 are chained 2 and 3.
There's a lot going on here.
Qliphort is summoned at the resolution of that next chain, and it sends something to the graveyard. It's like the other thing. We'll see when he puts his graveyard back.